Now we are going to get into the details or core of networking algorithms. In this session, we are going to use an analogy of a post office. In fact, networking has a lot of similarity with post office in multiple different layers. The more low level we get into networking, we feel it more similar to a post office, delivering letters one by one. Now in this lesson, we'll get into some of those details. So layers of network. So we have seen different layers of network, but conceptually we have not discussed much about it. In fact, layering is not a networking specific concept. It is there in pretty much all the device stacks. Something like disk, USB, almost all the device stack has layering. But I have felt when we teach networking in the traditional way, the first thing we talk about is layering. I don't know if that is correct or not. But one thing we need to understand is that layering is pretty much everywhere. In fact, layering has nothing specific to computer science itself. It's there in our daily world. Typical wholesale retail system works with layering. In fact, exact same layering principle as networking does. So one of the things we can discuss first before we get into the networking part is to discuss a real world layering concept. Something which we already know, which we use in our daily life. In fact, a lot of examples are there. Like I mentioned, wholesale retail system has similar concept like we are going to discuss. Here, what I'm going to discuss first is the example of sending a letter from one place to another, and we will discuss the layering in that. Suppose we have Alice here and she has written a letter and she has put the address on top of the letter and she wants to send it to Bob. Say for example, Alice is sitting in Sydney, her address is Sydney, and Bob is sitting in Melbourne. So this is the example we are trying to dissect here. A person sending a letter from Sydney to Melbourne. Now she has this address right there in the letter. The address has the house number, then the street, then place, state, and then the pin. This can be slightly different based on where you are and how things works in a different country, etc. But overall this holds good. Now what Alice has done with the letter is she has gone to her local post office. So let's draw that local post office. So this is the local post office. So she has gone to the local post office and dropped the letter in the local post office. Now the local post office is getting a lot of letters like that, not just from Alice. So what they have done is they have put all the letters in a big box and put Alice's letter inside that box along with a lot of other letters. And what they're going to do with that box? They are sending that box to a state level warehouse, post office warehouse. I'm just making this up, but something of this sort will be happening in reality as well. And this warehouse must be getting so many boxes like this from different post offices. So they will segregate these boxes based on the targets where it should go and do all kind of searching and sorting and rearranging, and they will come up with an arrangement and put all the boxes in a truck. And this truck is going to Melbourne. The ultimate location of the letter is Melbourne. And this truck has a lot of these boxes. All are going to Melbourne from different post offices, different people. So many letters are there. This state warehouse must be sending this kind of trucks to other state as well. Say for example, Western Australia or Queensland. Maybe even some other countries like India or US or Europe. But we are interested in the truck which is going to Melbourne because that's where Alice is sending the letter to. Similarly, this box can contain letter which is going pretty much anywhere. Probably it can contain small boxes inside this as well. So all those permutations and combinations are possible. But what we are interested is the letter which is sent to Bob from Alice. Maybe Alice is sending multiple letters to different people as well. But in our case, what we are tracking is the letter which Alice is sending to the Bob. Now the truck has reached the Melbourne warehouse. So these are the letters to Melbourne State Warehouse. So this is the Sydney State Warehouse, SYD, and this is the Melbourne State Warehouse. This is where all the letters to Melbourne comes. I don't think there is a place like that in reality because it'll be too big, but for the sake of discussion we will assume there's a warehouse like that. Now the exact reverse is happening. From the warehouse it'll go to different suburbs or places. So this is the local post office of Bob. So there is a box has gone just like this, very similar box, definitely not with the exact same content. The content of this box is different, but this box contains the letter from Alice. It is going all the way to the local post office from the state warehouse. And then a postman picks this particular letter up and deliver it to Bob. Sounds very trivial. We have done this many times in our life, sending a letter. And probably you might know approximately this is something which happens in a post office system. Not much different. Now where is the layering here? So as you can see, there is a counterpart here. Alice and Bob, they are two counterparts. So let me take that with a different color. So Alice and Bob, there is counterpart on both sides. This local post office, that is another counterpart. For example, we are not sending letter directly to the Melbourne State Warehouse. It doesn't work that way. It is the Sydney State Warehouse sending the truck to the Melbourne. So this is the Melbourne. Likewise, the Sydney State Warehouse is not sending the letter to the local post office of Bob. That's not how it works. Maybe this truck right here can't even reach the local post office because most of the warehouses are in non-suburban areas. Truck cannot even enter, in a very practical sense, truck may not even enter the local post office. This is a very big truck with some 30-40 wheels. Can't go into the narrow line of this local post office. It's not designed that way. So there is a connection between these two guys as well, that way. So as you can see here, these are the layers inside a post office system. In fact, a proper post office system like Sydney and Melbourne will have many more layers than this. I was just simplifying things. There will be so many different warehouses, systems based on types of letters, types of parcels, weight, too many parameters. And there will be so many different types of optimizations as well present in an actual post office system. But you get the idea. So layers are present in our daily life. So a couple of things to notice here is that the local post office is getting a lot of different letters to different parts of the world. This is also getting so many boxes from different local post offices. And this communicates with the other state warehouse, not with any other local post offices. Same way, the local post office doesn't communicate with the state warehouse here in Melbourne. So those communications are not done, not by design. Now, this state warehouse receives all the packets towards Melbourne, all the letters to Melbourne. Now, it sort out everything related to this particular local post office and send this box. So this box contains all the letters to this particular post office. And apparently that box will contain Alice's letter because Alice is targeting Bob and this is the local post office of Bob. Now, what is our analogy here? What is equivalent? So as you can see here, Alice is similar to our client application, the Python, and Bob is the server and different components in the operating system. For example, AFD, TCP/IP, and this, the actual physical thing which transport the stuff. Now let's draw our diagram and try to relate this concept we have discussed in the case of networking. So to conclude, we have seen an analogy. Now let's see how that is related to the client and server code we've been looking so far.